A mysterious phone video that appeared online, revealing private messages and recordings that appeared to reveal a secret romance, rocked Erica Mena's world. Fans are shocked as rumors circulate that Yandy Smith Harris may have had a covert relationship with Erica's ex-husband. The leak occurred late at night, just as suspicions about Yandy's loyalty had started to simmer. Imagine Erica going through her phone, her eyes widening, her pulse hammering as she understands the ramifications of what she's seeing. Everyone was talking about the deleted texts, the covert late-night conversations, and the cryptic voicemails that hinted at a connection no one saw coming. The family was split up as friends, and co-stars tried to make sense of the scandal. Emotions were running high when videos of Yandy and Erica's ex appeared online, appearing to laugh together during what appeared to be a private dinner. This image contradicted Yandy's public statements, and now every message and emoji. As the drama develops, one thing is certain. Erica Yandy and the hidden figure at the center of this explosive leak will never be the same. Every late-night conversation is scrutinized, and everyone wonders if there is proof or if this is just another twisted rumor. The leak first appeared in the Erica Mena, restless and unable to get rid of a persistent nagging feeling, decided to check her old phone on a dead night when most of Atlanta's reality stars had long gone to bed. A lingering update had moved everything onto her device, including a hidden gallery she had forgotten about. As she scrolled, she discovered a folder called Unknown, an innocent title that concealed a wealth of explosive messages. When she saw screenshots of late-night texts between Yandy Smith Harris and a contact known only as Jay, her breath caught. The exchange started out innocently enough with playful banter and flirtatious greetings, but it soon revealed secrets Erica never anticipated. Erica tapped on the phone with shaking fingers. The timestamp on the first photograph, which was 2:17, a Yandy's text message, "I can't stop thinking about you," was followed by a reply that said, "Meet me at the 12th Street Diner." Erica's heart raced. She had spent thoughts of betrayal swirled in her stomach for years as she trusted Yandy like a sister. The next screenshot revealed a blurry photo of Yandy and the enigmatic Jay laughing over coffee. Erica recognized the location. It was the exact booth where her ex-husband Denzel Stokes used to take her on date nights. Her heart pounded when she realized what had happened. Jay was Denzel Erica's ex-husband Ernest. Every day can bring unexpected news, but Erica never thought she would find herself in the middle of such a scandal. She listened back a voicemail, in which Denzel's reassuring voice said, "You're so beautiful." Tears clouded her vision, but her rage burned hotter. She knew she had to reveal this, but how the late hour meant decisions made alone could haunt her. But she felt motivated by a sense of duty. Her laughter mixed with whispered promises. Each message was a blow to her trust. Each image was a reminder of a friendship and marriage she thought were left in better places. Erica's normally lively energy was replaced by a steely resolve when she arrived at the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta soundstage the next morning. She slipped into her trailer, took a deep breath, and then called a producer she trusted. "I have something you need to see," she said in a low voice. "We need to pull the footage." The producer's reaction was a mix of enthusiasm and worry. "What is it? Is it serious?" Without hesitation, Erica said, "It's Yandy. You are aware that the allegations are true. I have screenshots." By the time Erica finished applying foundation, news had already started to circulate among the, "Have you seen Erica's face and something big is coming?" the crew whispered in the hallway. On set, Yandy came looking stunning in a white blouse and designer jeans, her smile covering any trace of the impending storm. She greeted her co-stars with warmth, completely unaware of the tension building around her. "You okay?" Kirk Frost, who was seated across from her, questioned softly as he saw Erica's eyes flash intensely. Yandy nodded and forced a grin, saying, "I'm great, ready for my close-up." Erica waited until the cameras rolled on the morning's first scene, a promotional segment about upcoming spin-offs, then moved silently toward Yandy's dressing area, with a producer in tow clutching a tablet. He had noticed her restless glances at her phone lately, a silence that was unusual for her normally gregarious demeanor. The producer tapped the screen while queuing up. Yandy's late-night text message inviting Denzel to a secret meeting was shown in the first screenshot. Yandy looked up, her features flickering with confusion, but Erica interrupted her, her voice ringing with accusations. "What is this?" The crew gasped, and the studio audience fell silent, sensing the tension. The producer swung to reveal a series of pictures, including every late-night text, every cryptic selfie of Yandy and Denzel up at dawn, paparazzi moments blurred in the background, captions hinting at stolen glances and hidden rendezvous, and Kirk, standing suddenly while seated nearby, leaned forward and showing me. "This is a mistake," she muttered, her hands shaking and Kirk's face pale. "What are you saying, Yandy?" he shouted, and Erica's lips curved into a hollow smile. "Stop playing dumb. You sent these and I saw everything on them. You thought I wouldn't find out. You thought I would let my friend steal my marriage," she said, holding up the tablet, her voice increasing as the cameras rolled and recorded each tortured reaction. "Erica, I'm sorry. It was supposed to be nothing. I never meant to hurt you." Yandy wiped her eyes, but the tears didn't lessen the impact. Kirk's eyes danced between Yandy and Erica, betraying him. "How long has it been this way?" "This has been going on since last summer, when Kirk and I were having troubles, and Denzel was there to listen. He was a buddy, but then things happened that I didn't anticipate getting serious," and Erica's laugh was bitter. "A friend, you betrayed me and my family." She pointed a finger at Yandy and said, "I thought you loved Kirk. I thought we were a family." Yandy's sobs became louder. "I did love Kirk, and I still do, but I was lonely and I needed someone." She looked at Kirk and said, "Please understand." Kirk recoiled. "We're showing this because fans deserve transparency. We want to see Yandy's reaction." Kirk's response, and Denzel's role in this. "Our kid's future for your selfishness." The host stepped closer to a professional anchor amid pandemonium. Erica generated another voice note as the cameras zoomed in, and it was Denzel's suave whispering, "Meet me tonight." The audio played over the studio speakers, and the audience and crew gasped. Yandy bit her lip, saying, "It sounds worse than it was. We didn't do anything but talk." He occasionally assisted me in coping with Erica's burning eyes. "You were meeting him at midnight while hiding from Kirk and having pancakes at diners. How is that not betrayal?" A whisper went around, dividing the family. People at home texted, "Friends, did you see Kira?" When Rashida heard the commotion backstage, she hurried over and asked, "Girls, what's going on? Yandy is in trouble," she inquired, glancing between Yandy and Erica, who then turned to make the charge. Like a spotlight, Denzel, Erica's ex-husband, has been having an affair with Rashida Yandy. Rashida's face contorted in shock as Kirk took her hand and said, "Rashida, I'm so sorry. I didn't know." She shook her head and spoke loudly, but I assured him that I believed her. She spun away, looking for a quiet corner, and Jock arrived just in time to see his wife's reaction. He put an arm around Rashida and whispered, "I'm here, babe," and covered her face with tears. "I'm sorry, Rashida. I never meant to hurt you," she said. "How do I face the kids? How do I trust anyone now?" she asked, shaking her head and crying. Erica went toward Yandy, softer now but still strong, and watched the falling eyes, frigid but content that her truth had come to light. "I know your Yandy's tears turned to, 'Please, Erica, I love you. You know that I never wanted to take him from you.'" Erica shook her head, saying, "Love doesn't matter when you're dissecting a friend's marriage." She turned to Kirk, saying, "Generator, I didn't do this to hurt." Kirk said, "I did it for myself. Yandy needs accountability." Kirk nodded, and Erica said, We're better than this. On the screen behind them, social media comments raged, Yandy is a mess. Erica is the true MVP of the show. How does Rashida recover? Fans were captivated by each of the performances. As the night went on, Denzel released a statement saying, I'm heartbroken. I never expected this to be broadcast. I hope both families find peace. The cameras caught Yandy's phone lighting up with Denzel's eye texting, I'm sorry, Yandy, I have to leave town, she said. The host also recalled Denzel's tearful confession and strained apology. What have I done? She whispered as she stared at the faces of her children flashing in her mind. In a quiet hallway, Kirk faced Denzel, who was waiting for him with his head down. Kirk's voice was icy and angry. You destroyed a family. You used my wife's weakness to satisfy your own ego. I'm sorry. If there was a way to undo it, I would, Denzel said, looking into his eyes with guilt on his face. Sorry is insufficient, Kirk said, clenching his fist. Erica went back to, it's time to face reality. Every secret has a cost. Yandy accepted the offer, his voice broken, and I understood. Cast insiders say the evening ended with Yandy leaving the stage, Kirk following behind, but Rashida stayed in a I never wanted, to be the one to deliver this news. But loyalty and truth matter. I hope Yandy finds a way to turn his life around, and Rashida finds healing. As dawn drew near, Jock consoled his wife. Erica posted a video to her social media. Comments poured in, some applauding her bravery, and others criticizing her for sharing personal information. The debate raged. Was Erica, the crew backstage muttered, I've never seen such raw emotion, one cameraman said, to which another answered, this will be the talk of reality TV for months. Erica departed the set with her head held high, preparing. Herself for Yandy didn't sleep that night because her mind kept replaying every word of the argument, including the shock of Erica's accusation and Kirk's silent betrayal. The whirlwind that lay ahead would include interviews, headlines, gossip blogs, and a dissection of every detail. However, for now, the truth had been revealed, and nothing would ever be the same again. As the sun rose, Yandy went downstairs, to find her children already up, their little faces excited for breakfast and school. She faked a smile and said, Good morning, my loves, as they fussed over her, naively inquiring about pancakes and cartoons. Rashida's voice was shaking and she was crying. Rashida spent the early hours packing a duffel bag across town under the moonlight filtering through the window, pausing as tears trickled down her cheeks. Every picture of Yandy had been deleted from her phone in a fit of rage. She swallowed, the lump in her throat while cooking cereal, wondering how she would face them when all they knew was that Mommy was in trouble. She traced her fingers over a faded photo of her and Yandy at a beach, arms around each other, laughing. That version of friendship felt like a faraway memory. However, now that she was staring at the blank screen, she realized how much history they shared. Kirk arrived at Yandy's house just before sunrise, catching her in the Yandy. He muttered softly as he stood at the kitchen threshold, his face etched with dread. She turned her eyes red-rimmed and he whispered, Don't. I can't do this today. She brushed away her tears. Kirk's voice cracked. I saw those messages. I should have asked questions sooner. Yandy shook her head. We both made mistakes, but I'm terrified of losing my children. Kirk pulled her into a loving embrace, saying, We'll figure this out. Hearing Erica's voice was worse than I had anticipated. Out together, but we have to keep them safe for the time being. When Raquel, Rashida's sister, arrived early at her house, Yandy nodded and buried her face in his chest while crying. She beat on the door until Rashida opened it, revealing puffy-eyed Rockwell, entered and embraced her, saying, I saw everything online. Are you okay? Rashida's shoulders trembled. No, I feel like I'm living in a nightmare. Rockwell ushered her to the sofa, saying, "You can stay here. I'll take care of things at home until you're ready." Rashida nodded appreciatively, but in a hollow voice. "Thank you," she said, staring blankly at the wall, contemplating how to start over in a single night, while Erica had spent the night creating a heartfelt video statement. In the morning, she hit the record button on her phone and said, "I know releasing those messages will hurt many people," in a steady but passionate voice. "But loyalty and truth were more important. I apologize for the suffering, but I stand by what I did." Some friendships end when secrets start. She shared it on social media and then shut her eyes to wait for the storm. Within 30 minutes, Erica's phone was inundated with alerts, and the comment section was overwhelmed with compliments from several tabloids took the clip and ran headlines like, "Erica's fearless reveal divides cast," and "Yandy steps down from show after leaked affair." Fans and others said, "Heroic betrayer, drama." Queen truth-teller. Erica's agent called and urged her to limit her social media, and she exhaled, wishing she could withdraw from. Despite the chaos, the remaining cast members assembled for an emergency meeting on set. The host spoke to them in a strained voice, saying, "We're delaying today's shoot. We need to regroup." A producer reviewed the notes, and Yandy's segments were put on hold. "We'll reschedule when the dust settles," Rashida said. In a nearby trailer, Kirk sat with Yandy's empty chair next to him. He stared at the door, imagining that she would arrive at any moment, but she never did. He thought of his kids, wondering if they sensed that she was late today. Rashida nodded, tears glinting, and she whispered, "Thank you." Jock joined her, quietly putting an arm around her shoulders. He had promised loyalty, friendship, and family unity, but instead, he delivered betrayal. The weight felt insurmountable. Joke drove Rashida to the nearby elementary school shortly after breakfast, and they parked in silence until Rackwell's car arrived behind them with Erica's. Rashida leaned back and said, "I don't know if I can function today," as he kissed her forehead and said, "I'll take our kids to soccer practice later." Joke took her hand one step at a time, and she nodded while still holding his hand. When Rashida's kids ran to the school drop-off, she forced a smile and hugged them. "Enjoy your wonderful day." Raquel watched from behind and planted a comforting kiss on Rashida's cheek, saying, "You're doing great." And Rashida nodded while swallowing new tears as the kids ascended the stairs, oblivious to the misery that was happening. With the phone in hand, Yandy paced the living room at home. She dialed Cole's number, certain that he had left town as promised. Voicemail came up and Yandy said, "I can't do this anymore." Cole's voice crackled. "I'm sorry, I'm gone." She closed her eyes, grief rushing through her, and she dropped the phone as if it had burned her flesh. "Destroyed everything," she whispered. Cole packed his last possessions into a duffel bag across town. His apartment, which had been a haven, felt empty. Haunted by memories of whispered vows and covert kisses, he took his keys and locked the door, determined to forget his mistakes. He considered Yandy and Erica, both of whom were devastated by his presence. In the meantime, Erica arrived at a studio for a live interview to discuss her upcoming memoir. The host greeted her and addressed the elephant in the room right away. "Erica, your book Loyalty Betrayed hits shelves this week." "I'll never forgive myself," he whispered as he made his way to the elevator that would take him away from Atlanta and everything he had broken. "Did you expect this degree of backlash?" Erica breathed and said, "I honestly just wanted to share my story. Yes, I knew it was controversial, but I think it's important to tell the truth, even if it hurts." The presenter nodded and the crowd leaned forward. "Do you have any regrets?" he asked. As the interview went on, social media erupted with new reactions. "I'm sad that Yandy and Rashida's friendship is over, and I'm sad that an entire family suffered, but I don't regret speaking the truth. Erica's writing is excellent, and I can't believe she will profit from this drama." Yandy may sue Rashida's. Back at Yandy's house, Kirk arrived with bags of groceries. He placed the bags on the counter and knelt next to her, saying, "I got pasta and sauce," in a soft voice. Supporters gathered around her, and tabloids posted links to purchase the memoir, eagerly swiping their cameras toward Erica's face. "I'm not hungry," she said, shaking her head and burying her face in her hands. Kirk put a hand on her shoulder after he paused, saying, "Our kids will need dinner. Let me take care of it." She didn't answer, so he knelt down and brushed a lock of hair off her face. "I love you." On the set of the show, producers discussed the schedule. One producer asked, "Do we replace Yandy's scenes with B-roll?" Another shook his head. "No, we need her confession on camera." Yandy winced at the words, "I don't know if I can ever trust you again." And Kirk closed his eyes. "I'll spend every day earning that trust back." The crew buzzed, finalizing arrangements that evening, and Yandy agreed to film her follow-up at the studio. Although her hands shook as she stepped in front of the camera, the host greeted her eyes sympathetically, and they prepared questions about how she plans to regain respect, what she will say to Rashida's fans, and whether she is asking for forgiveness. "Has this affair impacted your marriage and your family?" Yandy closed her eyes and took a trembling breath. "I've made the worst decision of my life, and Kirk and I are currently separated. Our kids deserve a stable home, which I didn't give them. I intend to leave the show permanently in order to concentrate on making amends with Rashida." "What do you think of Yandy's lips quivering?" "I can understand why they feel betrayed. I experience the same heartbreak every day. I'm sorry doesn't even begin to describe it. I'll do whatever it takes to win back your trust one day." The host nodded. Many fans are shocked. Emotions ran high, and the family was left divided. Cameras caught her sobbing as she looked off stage, possibly expecting to see Kirk or Rashida sitting nearby, offering consolation, but no one arrived. While Yandy was filming, Rashida watched remotely on her phone, sitting on the floor of her bedroom with a pillow and her daughter sleeping next to her. She heard Yandy apologize and had the opportunity to tell me face to face, but her wrath erupted too soon. Instead, she raced to Denzel and played Cole's last message, which said, "Cold and empty." She closed her eyes, listened to her infant breathe, and vowed to defend her family at all costs. Kirk. He turned and proceeded toward his car, phone in hand, and browsed through Yandy's confession while standing off camera. His heart was heavy with love, regret, and hope, and he murmured to himself, "We'll get through this even if it kills me." Through their pastor's words, "Forgiveness starts with confession, and I'm here for you both." Elsewhere, Erica sat by herself in her car parked outside a coffee shop, scrolling through tweets while he whistled softly, preparing himself for the lengthy journey ahead. She took a sip of lukewarm coffee and exhaled, looking at the empty studio, lights behind her. "This isn't over," she whispered, considering her next move. Book signings, interviews, possibly a talk show slot. Erica's too ruthless. "Thank you for truth, Erica," Yandy revealed, exposing Rashida's need for support. For the time being, though, she enjoyed the silence before the following storm. As night fell, the city was alive with rumors at dinner tables. Offices and online text chains demanded updates on the whereabouts of Denzel, Yandy's fate, and Rashida and Kirk's marriage. Talk shows prepared panels of experts to debate loyalty and morality on reality television. The scandal had gone beyond. In a small church near town, Rashida attended the evening service with Juck and the children. The pastor talked about forgiveness, saying that it's not about forgetting but about choosing to move on. Rashida closed, her eyes finding solace in the words, and Joke squeezed her hand, saying, "We're not." On her way home, Yandy passed a neon-lit cafe. She thought about going in, but remembered her midnight rendezvous with Cole, so she decided against it. Alone, he muttered, and Rashida nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks as a faint hope began to kindle in her heart. "I'm here," Kirk murmured, reaching out and grasping her hand. Yandy glanced at him and trembled her mouth. "I know." As the world slept that night, Yandy and Kirk laid on opposite sides of each other, and he tried to express everything with a kiss on her forehead. Erica updated her blog, "Truth is a Double-Edged Blade," Rashida lit a candle for peace, and Cole boarded a bus bound north, leaving Atlanta behind and the city wide awake. The two of them, separated by distance and betrayal, were each looking at the ceiling, replaying their decisions. Rashida woke up before the sun rose, the silence of her home pressing against her ears as she tiptoed past her children's bedrooms. She knew that this story was far from over, so she continued to whisper, debate, and speculate. Every step felt heavy, burdened by the knowledge that her world had changed forever. She traveled to the office where Rashida placed a soft hand on Kirk's shoulder as he sat at his desk staring blankly at documents and bills. Sunlight came in through the window, illuminating a pile of eviction notifications that Kirk had neglected to disclose. "Did you find another method to pay rent?" she asked in a cautious tone. "Across town," Yandy said, sitting in her sister's living room with a mug of tea in her hand. Kirk looked up, guilt and exhaustion mingling in his eyes. "I took out a loan, but we're on thin ice," he whispered, and Rashida exhaled tears that pricked her eyes. "We'll face this together," she said, her voice trembling even as she tried to sound determined. She closed her eyes and recalled Cole's last voicemail. "I have to leave Yandy. This isn't fair to either of us." The low hum of the heater didn't do much to warm her, and she stared blankly at the television as it played a loop of morning news. One segment replayed her tearful apology. "I never planned to hurt anyone. I was vulnerable, and I made the worst mistake." She opened her laptop and went on social media, where she saw that Yandy Gate was trending and that fans were arguing over whether she should be forgiven or scorned. One tweet said, "You betrayed your family," while another muttered, "We all make mistakes." She hit submit on it, but typing felt pointless. Hours went by in silent agony before her sister Maya knocked and jolted her back to reality at a tiny therapy office close to Rashida's. "I'm dedicated to healing. I'll do whatever it takes." Kirk and Rashida sat across from Dr. Harris in their home, which had bright paintings and stuffed animals on the walls. It was a kid-friendly front for difficult talks, and Dr. Harris cleared her throat during our last session. "Today, let's concentrate on creating a new foundation for your family." Kirk leaned forward. "Desire to rebuild, but I'm not sure where to begin." Rashida's voice faltered. "We need stability for our children and our marriage, but I'm not sure if I can ever trust Kirk again." Dr. Harris nodded. "We'll work on establishing open lines of communication, setting honest boundaries, and admitting past wrongs. Forgiveness is a process, not a destination." Rashida's card said, "Yandy shattered my trust," while Kirk's card read, "I let my best friend betray our marriage." She led them through an exercise in which they each wrote down a hurt on a card and shared it with the others. Tears dropped as they spoke, but there was also a tentative readiness to listen and be heard. That same afternoon, Erica Mena showed up at a local book signing for her new novel. Fans waited in line to hear her take on truth and treachery, and she smiled sweetly. While signing autographs, a young woman approached her table and said, "Thank you for telling the truth," in a gentle voice. Erica managed to nod. "I hope my words help someone understand the cost of secrets." As she turned to face the next fan, she knew that each signature held the weight of her public stance. While Yandy was sitting in a community center attending her second therapy session with Dr. Jenkins, the phone buzzed with a message from Kirk asking how to fix this and where to start. She paused, then typed a reply that said, "Honesty, sacrifice therapy. You know what to do." She locked her phone and took a deep breath before going back to fans. Yandy's voice trembled as Dr. Jenkins introduced the topic. Today, let's talk about how you'll earn back trust, she said. I know I broke my family. I want to focus on being a mother first. I've decided to step away from the show indefinitely. Dr. Jenkins nodded approvingly. Taking responsibility is key. How will you help? Yandy's eyes filled with tears as she explained that her mother made mistakes and that sometimes adults need to grow up and change. Dr. Jenkins encouraged her to write a letter to her children, which Yandy did, using pen and paper and shaky handwriting. My dear ones, I apologize for hurting you, and I will do everything in my power to make things right. There's therapy on the ice, she said hurriedly, as Kirk came home with groceries and stopped at the front door. I sent you the schedule. Did you see my note about the eviction? Kirk sighed. Rashida sat at the dining table sorting mail, exhaustion clouding her eyes. As Kirk set the grocery bags on the counter, Rashida gasped and said, I'm sorry I kept it from you. I should have informed you sooner. She stood with tears in her eyes and said, Everything's a secret. Next, Kirk's shoulders slumped when he told her there was no mortgage or anything. I'll fix it, Rashida, he said, and she moved toward him. I want to believe you, Kirk said, hushed, and he reached for her hand. Let's start by paying bills together. No more hidden finances. She nodded, and he led her upstairs to the safe where he had hidden their joint bank statements. The boy yawned. I love you, Daddy. And Joe closed the book, kissed his son's forehead, and turned off the light as he sat on the edge of his son's bed that night and read a bedtime story. His sleepy eyes met his father's. Is Mommy okay? Jock swallowed hard. Mommy's working on feeling strong again, buddy. After handing the kids down with Kirk for the evening, Yandy snuck into the house in silence in the hallway. Jock opened the door and saw her eyes covered in red makeup. Your kids need you, Jock reminded her, and Yandy closed the door sobbing. I know I'm scared. The next morning, Erica got ready for a part on a daytime talk show. Cameras rolled as she spoke directly into live television. You have to prove it every day. Yandy nodded, his voice muffled in his shoulder. Truth and loyalty are more important than fame. The host replied, Some say you weaponized personal details. How do you respond? Erica's expression remained composed. Shadow and light coexist sometimes. Exposing darkness opens the road for healing. If I hadn't revealed those messages, this family may still be living a lie. The studio audience cheered, with some followers tweeting, Erica's too harsh, while others applauded, she's a truth warrior. I hope Rashida and Yandy both find peace. The warrior of truth. Yandy, meanwhile, was sitting in a nearby cafe with his laptop open, searching for possible employment outside of reality TV. She looked through her phone's messages from supports, from critics and one text message from Kirk Therapy this evening. She sighed and texted back, yes, adding, I love you. However, the burden of treachery remaining firmly pushed on her chest. Later that day, Cole's manager took a car to the family home with a letter from Cole that I never intended for my friendship with Yandy to receive, addressed to Rashida, and Kirk fall into anarchy. I'm sorry for my involvement, and I'm giving up my earnings today. Rashida sat at the table as Kirk read the note aloud to her. Year to charity in their name. 2 cups of coffee chilling on the kitchen table doesn't alter what transpired. Kirk put the note on the table in a whisper. But it's a start. People make errors. Rashida Cole vanished, and Yandy's gone. It's just the 2 of us. Rashida's eyes are crying, and I'm tired, Kirk. Reached over and gave her a hug. Together, we'll proceed toward in the evening, Yandy, Rashida Kirk Jock, and the whole family assembled in a communal hall for a charity function that they had planned a few weeks prior. The event initially to generate money for youth initiatives, which had come to represent their efforts to heal. When Erica came, Rashida welcomed her. The environment was strained as Jock led their kids to a table to draw drawings, while Kirk and Yandy stood at the door and nodded stiffly, stood clumsily before a flag that said, "Families first." Erica took taking a big breath. He approached the microphone and said, "We appreciate your attendance tonight. We're here because even broken hearts can mend." With their phones in hand, the audience applauded courteously, recording every moment. Before turning her head away, Rashida's eyes briefly locked with Yandy's. Erica gave the Yandy's voice trembled as she spoke. "I know I hurt many hearts here. I apologize to Kirk, Rashida, and everyone else I let down. I promise to be present for my kids to help me improve myself and regain their trust one day at a moment." The audience gave a little cheer, and Kirk then took the microphone. Further expressed regret to Rashida for disregarding her suffering, concealing money, and he turned to Rashida with tears in his eyes, saying, "I love you and our family, and I'll prove it every day." Eyes, "Will you pardon me?" Rashida paused, before moving forward. "I'm not sure whether I'm there yet, but I'm looking at Kirk's firm yet gentle voice, eager to give it a shot." Rashida's tears spilled out as the crowd applauded, and Jock joined them in a group. As the evening came to an end, embrace kids who were throwing confetti in jubilation. In a corner, Erica and Yandy spoke quietly. "I hope this was worth it," she whispered, as Yandy's eyes glistened. "I'll spend every day demonstrating that I deserve this gift, even though it was painful." Forgiveness. Erica gave Yandy a nod and an embrace before leaving to welcome the spectators. Ended with family exchanging gentle nods and hugs. None asserted total healing, but as one thing felt definite as the assembly withdrew into the night. True healing had started. This harrowing trip serves as a reminder that truth has the power to both destroy and mend. What do you believe lies ahead for these families? Will Kirk and Rashida be able to reconcile for good? Can Yandy regain the, "If this story affected you, please share your opinions below. Your voice matters." Trust, she lost. Turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss any new twists, and remember to like and subscribe for more reality TV updates. Occasionally, the most difficult realities.